everybody, AJ Ryzik here, and today we're going to look at Ubuntu Gnome 14.10. Now I'm working with the final beta here, and what that is the release that comes out just before the final and official release, which by the way, official release is October 23rd this year. And the release candidate, or the final release candidate, or final beta, whatever you want to call it, basically that's the developers have gotten to the point where we think we've worked out all the bugs and kinks. Let's take a look, get it out there for the community, and see, hey, is there any glitches, bugs, all that kind of stuff that we've missed. I've got to say I haven't found any. Everything seems to work pretty well. I really haven't had any issues, so two big thumbs up on that. Very stable release. So pretty happy with all that, and so let's get moving on with this review. Okay, probably the place to start is talking a little about Gnome. Gnome is the desktop environment that we're using here with this distribution. Now the base Ubuntu distribution, it uses an interface called Unity, which is based on Gnome, and in a way I guess you could think of Unity as a Gnome plugin. Well, the standard Ubuntu distribution, it's based on, I think, Gnome 3.8. Well, the most recent release of Gnome, which just came out September 24th, 25th, something like that, is Gnome 3.14. So you would think, okay, Ubuntu Gnome, you're going to have the most recent release of Gnome. No, and there's just, I guess you think of it as a practical reason for this. That 1 month time from the release of 3.14 to when Ubuntu Gnome 14.10 is going to be released, that's not enough time for the developers to go in and test it and find all the glitches and see, oh, is this going to work with Ubuntu and all that kind of stuff. Plus, on top of that, to be part of the official Ubuntu family, the distributions, they got what they call feature freeze, at which point they're not allowed to add any more features before a certain distribution. That is even earlier than that October 23rd date. So just from a practical standpoint, they can't, there was no way for them to get 3.14 into this distribution, at least officially. Okay, so officially, Ubuntu Gnome 14.10 ships with Gnome 3.12. However, for those of us that want to get our Gnome on and get the latest Gnome packages, there is a way to do that, and it allows you to get, I guess you could say, the best Gnome experience that you can get in a Ubuntu distribution, at least at the present time. And let me drag over Firefox here. Got two web pages open. There are two ppas that you can add to your system that will allow you to update most of your packages to GNOME 3.14. The first is this GNOME 3 team, and that's basically how would I look at it? If you come down here, look at the packages. This is basically stuff from 3.12 that didn't make it, that they weren't quite finished with when the feature freeze took place. So you see here, you got a bunch of 3.12 packages there, a couple of 3.14s, but stuff that they just didn't complete by the time the feature freeze took place. So you can add that one to your system, to your list of PPAs. Then there's also the GNOME 3 staging. This is stuff, and for Ubuntu Ubuntu Gnome 14.10. This is going to be, for the most part, the 3.14 packages. And this is stuff that's currently being tested by the Ubuntu Gnome team. So you see, kind of looking through here, most of it's 3.14s. So add this one, and you would think, okay, this is the testing one. You know, is it going to be glitchy or whatnot? I added both of these to the system, and it runs great. But and here's the kicker: for those of you that are going to add these and are working via terminal, a lot of times, if you're going to upgrade to the next distribution you do, when you're working in the terminal, you would put in apt-get dist-upgrade for distribution upgrade. You don't want to do that. You want to do apt-get upgrade, and the reason being is that if you do the dist-upgrade, you will totally balk up your system. Because what we're looking at right now, this desktop, this is about the 4th installation I've done, and it's because I was trying out all of these the testing packages and staging and all that kind of stuff, and suffice to say, don't use that dist upgrade. The other thing you do not want to add, there is actually a, see, we've got the GNOME 3 staging. There's also a testing one called GNOME 3 testing. Do not add that one, because once again, it totally destroys your system, and you can't log yourself back in. Everything freezes up, all that kind of stuff. There might be some packages on that testing PPA that you can download, and it's not going to mess up your system. But if you try adding that testing PPA and then just doing a regular upgrade, it will totally screw up the system. That's why it's called the testing PPA. It's stuff that they're testing right now. But anyway, this stuff actually seems to be fairly stable, at least as long as you do, like I said, a regular upgrade. Or if you're doing this via, just the regular Ubuntu software updater, this little thing right here, it says software updater, that'll update you just fine. So you'll be good to go if you use that. So anyway, I am running, for the most part, Ubuntu GNOME 3.14. Most of the packages are 3.14. I have also added, there were a few GNOME applications that Ubuntu GNOME doesn't install by default. I've gone ahead and added those. Basically, I wanted to try to give you the most complete GNOME distribution or GNOME experience, or whatever you want to call it, the most complete that I could possibly give you while I was doing this review. So, and let me read off my notes here. The GNOME applications that aren't installed by default were GNOME Web, which was previously called Epiphany, which is their web browser; Polari, which is an IRC client; Boxes, which is a VirtualBox application; GNOME Music, and GNOME Photos, and GNOME Clock. Now, I installed all those, and all work fine, with the exception of GNOME Photos. It crashed. In fact, I couldn't even get the application to open, so I went in and took it off of this distribution here. But everything else seems to work fine. The one thing that I really couldn't test was Polari. Like I said, it's an IRC client, and just the whole IRC chat. It's not something I've ever done, so there was really no way for me to know, is this working like it should or not working. Or I can tell you that the application will open and not crash. But beyond that, I really couldn't tell you anything about that. So anyway, let's take a look at this distribution and see what we got here. So one of the neat things that was added with GNOME 3.14 is some new animations. Let's open up the launcher here. You can see how it opens up all those programs and throws them out there like that. And animations, not a big deal as far as functionality, but it's neat looking nevertheless. At least to me, part of having a good desktop experience is you got to enjoy what you're looking at and how you interface with the desktop. So yeah, I like the animations. It's also another thing and this is becoming more and more common with distributions these days, is online integration. You can go in and add, OwnCloud, Facebook, Google, Yahoo, all kinds of stuff, and integrate it pretty seamlessly with your desktop. Now, the one thing I will tell you with Google, if you're using Gmail and you are going to use the default email client, which is Evolution, I would uncheck the right here where it has the mail, click that to off, and then manually enter in your Gmail account into Evolution, and I'll show you why. And as you can see, I left it on the online count thing. I left it unchecked there, and let me go and pull up the preferences here. Okay, so right there, that's where it was added. As you can see, this was accounted through the online account services. Here I manually entered it, and if you come up to edit, these are the default settings that Evolution chose, or I don't know if it pulls it out of the internet, how it comes up with the default settings, but they're not correct. And according to the Gmail website, you want this is for the receiving email. For the server, you want imap.gmail.com. The port is correct, 993. Everything else right here is correct. If you come down here to sending email, once again, you want .gmail. And the port needs to be 587. Port 465 will not work with Evolution. As far as the Gmail versus Google Mail thing, I don't know about whether the Google Mail part will work correctly. This is just what, when you go to the Gmail website, this is what they specify for settings. So the reason why I said don't add your Gmail via the online accounts thing is this account that was created via the online accounts, if you go into edit, it will not allow you, it doesn't give you those options to change the server and all that kind of stuff. So this ends up freezing up and not working for you, and so it's just best to manually enter it right here. And let me go and pull up that online accounts thing, and I will get rid of that. So I left it on for everything else, so I've got integration with everything else, just not the mail. Which if you use Google Calendar, you kind of want to keep that calendar integration so that it'll show up any things that you've got scheduled onto your calendar. As far as Evolution itself, and I'll let it start updating, doing its send and receive thing. And it's going to probably take it a little while to update all that because there's a lot of mail on that account. But anyway, this is the default look that you got. Not bad. I personally, if you come down here to view, switcher, where is it? Is it layout? Preview. There we go. I always go with vertical view. So what you end up with is your list of emails in this column right here, and then the email that you've selected you can read in this column over here. Now if you're on maybe a netbook, that classic view with the over under kind of thing, that might work out better for you there. And as you can see, there's different layouts that you can go with over here. Pick whatever works out for you. Personally, like I said, I think this is what works out best for wide screens, but to each his own. Close that and get that out of here. Alright, let's take a look at some of the other default applications that we've got here. As I said earlier, I added the application, the GNOME applications that the distribution was missing, but other than that, I've added my screen recorder, and I think that's it. Just so that right now I can show you the the default look and whatnot. Okay, so we've got our games up here. Still using Brasero, I guess is how you pronounce it, for your disk burning and that sort of thing. GNOME boxes, like I said, this is a virtual box application, and I've only gotten to play with it a little bit, and actually I'm probably going to do a full tutorial on this one, but I think that for virtual box applications, I think I'm switching from Oracle VirtualBox to this, because to me this seems like it's the better way to go. Let's see, we got our calculator, character map. Cheese is the default webcam viewer, and let me close this up here. That's what I've got going on right down here. It's a basic application, easy to use, not a whole lot of frills, but not something they really need a lot of frills with either. GNOME clocks. Just click over here on new, pick a city that you're looking for. Like for me, my closest city is Cincinnati, Ohio. That's the closest big city. So now that that's added, you can just click on there. It'll give you the sunrise and all that kind of stuff. And you can add multiples on here. So I could see how this is, this would be useful if, you got to keep track of, what time is it in a couple of different places. And it's like, okay, what time zone are they in? Here in the US, that's probably not too big of a deal because we've only got a couple of time zones. But if you're somebody that's maybe doing international business or whatnot, and you need to know, well, what time is it, in somewhere in Germany right now, or what time is it in Moscow, Russia? I could see where, if you got a couple of these added up here, you can, check, oh yeah, this is what time it is, and whatnot. It's got an alarm function, a stopwatch, a timer. Not a big utility, but useful nonetheless. I'm glad to see that they have included deconf editor, so all the little tweaks to your various applications that you don't have a menu option for, usually you can go into deconf editor and make those little changes in there. Let's see, we've got our disk management, disk usage analyzer, what's in our documents folder, Evine, which is the document viewer. this has been updated for a newer, cleaner look. Really don't have any documents on this distribution yet, so I really can't open anything yet. But nice clean interface. One of the things that they have added is you can now go and remove comments that have been made on documents. Like say you got a PDF and added some comments, need to go and take those comments off. Used to be you were stuck with the comments. Now you can do that with this application. Of course, we got our contacts there. Empathy for instant messaging. Of course, we already talked a little bit about evolution. Your file manager is still the old standard Nautilus. Personally, I prefer to go with Nemo, which is what is used in the Mint distributions. Because it's got and Nemo is a fork of Nautilus, but it's got some features that that Nautilus does not have by default. Okay, where were we? Okay, Firefox browser is the browser that comes by default. Gedit it's got a new look to it. You know, and as you can see, all of the GNOME applications, they've got this nice clean look now where it's a fat header, but you don't have multiple rows of of icons and titles and whatnot. It's all integrated in one title bar. So while you do have this big header, it's a nice clean look. So anyway, that's been added to Gedit for your text editing needs. All right, LibreOffice. Once again, we have the LibreOffice suite for our Office applications, and more and more for the longest time, OpenOffice was the go-to open source Office suite, but more and more distributions are going to LibreOffice, and I think it's a good move. It's being developed quicker. It's, as far as I'm concerned, it's got more functionality, but there are plenty of people that do like OpenOffice. If you want to add OpenOffice, remove LibreOffice first, because the two don't play together nice. And let's see what version we got here on LibreOffice, 4.3.22, and I believe that is the most up-to-date. Now, there is a LibreOffice PPA that you can add, and by doing that, you'll always have the latest stable release of LibreOffice. So, you may want to go and add that. Okay, there's a LibreOffice. We got our games. Yeah, here's the GNOME maps. So, you can scroll around to, different places on the map. You got different map views. Let's see if I can find my location. Well, let's see if I'm curious to see if it'll find my real location. No. And I noticed this when I was playing with it before. Because my time zone, and I'm guessing this is why. Since my time zone is listed as the New York time zone, which is Eastern Standard Time, it keeps putting my current location as New York. Well, it's not New York, but I mean it does searches just fine. So I don't know if that is really a glitch with the application or how it's been applied to Ubuntu Gnome, or maybe there's something else that I'm kind of missing on why it's doing that. But I mean, if I tell it what I'm looking for, it finds it no problem. And we now have over here, you can give it, it's got like a route planner. So if I want to go from New Richmond, New Richmond, Ohio to Cincinnati, Ohio, and it'll give you all kinds of different locations, more specific than what I gave it, but boom, there it goes and plans out that route for you. Very nice. So, I mean, that's good. And then you also got, you can zoom in, zoom out. I already showed you moving the map around. And you have both the street level and then also the satellite view that you can look at. And zooming in, I mean, let's go over my hometown here and we see how close in we can zoom in. You can zoom in pretty good. There we are, right on the Ohio River there, and you can see all of our docks down there, and this whole thing right down here is called Skipper's, and it is a floating restaurant. So if you ever in the Cincinnati area, come to New Richmond so you can get on the floating restaurant. But anyway, like you see, you get down pretty close with this application. Let's go back to the street view. The only thing that I'm not sure of, or what, and maybe there's a way to do this, and I just don't know how. But there isn't, like, if you just right click up here, there's an about, there's a quit. There's not really a print directions or anything like that. I would have liked to have seen that, or send to your Android phone or iPhone or whatnot, that sort of thing. So kind of while this is a neat application so far, I think it needs more work so you can add that kind of functionality to it, unless it is there and I just don't know how to use it, which is entirely possible, because and this is going to be a gripe of mine for not only GNOME, the GNOME development people, but also KDE development people. You people got to work on your documentation. To be quite honest, on a lot of applications, if you want to know, get some good documentation on how to use various applications, don't go to the GNOME website, the GNOME wiki. Don't go to the KDE wiki. Usually, I go to the Arch wiki, because those people at least have an idea on how to provide good documentation for applications. And I mean, I'm sorry about the criticism, but both camps, I don't know if it's a lack of staff to do it. You need more volunteers to start writing up how to use some of these applications. But on so much of this, it's basically you need to figure it out for yourself. All right, where were we? Okay, so there was maps. Mines is a game. No music. I think this has got to be the cleanest looking music application I've ever seen. Let me pull it up. You got a little album cover or whatever, so you can look at the different albums that you have loaded on here, list it by the artists, list by songs, however you want to do it. You can create playlists, and if you pick a pick an album, uh, and just select the song, and it'll start playing, and go from there. And like if you got everything from that album on there, it'll just go through the whole album and whatnot. Like I said, or you can come over here and pick a particular song, or like I said, there's it doesn't have a huge number of functions, but it's a nice clean look. It's simple to use. Um, you know, Very nice music application. I really haven't had enough time to play with it and say, oh, it's better than Rhythmbox or or anything like that. Because Rhythmbox in itself, which is the default, that's that icon right there, uh, which is the default for tons and tons of distributions. Um, Very nice music application in itself. So you know, um, pick what you like, I guess you could say. Uh, there's our settings, Shotwell for um, the default photo downloader and browser and all that kind of stuff. Simple screen recorder, that's what I use to record my videos, so I added that. And then of course we got our software updater and software and updates. Startup disk creator, Sudoku, system log, system monitor, our terminal, tweak tool, uh, which is, and let me go to that real quick. So for making all of your various tweaks to appearance and whatnot and different things, this is the place to go. Okay, you can go and change your themes, your icons, all that kind of stuff from here. Um, do you like having icons on your desktop, or do you not? You can turn that on and off from here. Uh, you know, your background, not animations, pictures, images, whatnot. And then what kind of mode do you want it? Do you want it stretched wallpaper, span, scaled, all that kind of stuff? So you can do that from here. You can manage your GNOME extensions from here, and I'll come back to this in just a minute. Um, your fonts, keyboard and mouse, power, startup application. So if you want an application to start up at boot, you can add a list here. On your top bar, do you want to show applications menu? And normally I get rid of that. That's just me. On the clock, do you want to show the date? Yep. And show the seconds, don't need to show that. These are basically hotkeys right here. Your window behavior and how you want it to look, all that kind of stuff. Do you want there to be maximized and minimized buttons on your windows? You can go to turn that off, and then it won't be there by default. Window scaling. This is for, so if you got a high resolution screen, you can go and alter your window scaling so everything looks correct. Because that was for when the high resolution screens first started coming out, that was a little bit of an issue, especially like if you've got a small screen but it's still, maybe you've got like a 10-inch screen but it still is a 1080p display. Everything will look really tiny on it. Well, this kind of solves that issue. Workspaces, I keep it set to the dynamic, or you can go to static and specify how many workspaces you've got. And then if you only want workspace, if you've got multiple monitors and you only want the workspaces on the primary monitor, you can do that right here. And And let me finish with applications, and then we're going to come back to the talking about the extensions. So anyway, where were we? Tweak tool. Oh, the Software Center. Once again, we still have the Ubuntu Software Center. And for those of you that have seen my reviews in the past, you know this is my biggest gripe with Ubuntu-based distributions, is that god-awful Software Center. I will go to great lengths so that I do not have to use the Software Center. Typically, I install Synaptic Package Manager and GDEB, which allows me to totally avoid the Software Center, which is a shame because, you know, when you open it up, it's kind of nice looking. It lets you look at various reviews of software, and you know, that can be kind of useful. But you know, the application, it freezes, it crashes. You know, especially if you want to go and try to give it, you know, a long list of software that you want to download and install, which you know, if you're doing a fresh install, you know, you may have a long list of things that you want to install. Give it more than 2 or 3 items and it's going to freeze and crash on you. So that's why I usually go the Synaptic route. Now, there is now a GNOME software, came out, GNOME 3.10. The rumor that I'm hearing is that in the 15.4 release of Ubuntu Gnome, that might be available, and that's not confirmed. That's just rumors that I found out on the internet, and I haven't been able to confirm it yet. If so, that'll be great, because it actually, the GNOME software, besides just working as a software center, it adds some extra functionality to GNOME. It allows you to create, I guess you could think of it as like folders for batching applications together for in your when you pull up your application, so that you know, it's something that I'm looking forward to seeing. I got to play with it a little bit on Fedora. I downloaded the Fedora 21 Alpha so I could play around with that, and the Software Center is really neat. Something I'm looking forward to. You know, assuming that it is going to be added to 15.04, I'm looking forward to it. Oh, videos. Used to be called Totem. It's been reworked, and once again we got that nice clean header bar. You know, all these are various movies and videos that I've got on my system. You can go and click on the plus, add a local video, add a web video. And the cool thing about the web video, so like if you did that, you can give it, like, say there's a YouTube video that you want to be able to watch inside of this player, you can do that. Just give it the YouTube address, click the add button, it adds it. You know, nothing simpler than that. It's got some channels here, Apple movie trailers. If you click that, all these different movie trailers that you can look at, other channels that you can look at. So you know, I'm really liking this videos. Most of the time I go and install VLC for viewing videos, but I'm going to play with this a little more, and like I said, so far I'm liking what I'm seeing. You know, this, at least for me, this may replace VLC. And where were we? Okay, so there was that. We got weather. Just type in an address, or actually it's like, I'll put in Cincinnati again, and it'll give you current conditions, and then, you know, a little 5-day outlook, what's it going to be tomorrow, that sort of thing. Places, and what that is that it'll give you so since that's my locale. Now that it's added to places, when I open up this app, that's going to pop up. Uh, and you can add multiple places also. So let me close that up. And so there was the weather, and this is the default web browser for GNOME. It used to be called Epiphany. Once again, you're looking at that same simple header bar up here. Just type in an address that you're looking for, and it goes and searches it for you. Just what you're looking for. Now you can go and give it a a specific address, or give it something that you're looking for. Either way, it'll work out for you. But anyway, as you can see, it's pretty quick. And that's one of the things I really like about this. You can also go and, like, let's go to this YouTube thing here, and if you come up here to that little icon right there, and where is it? So you can do a save as web application. If you go and save as a web application, like say you save YouTube as a web application, from that point on you can go and in your search up here you could just type in YouTube and it will pull that up for you. Allow you to go right to it. you know so like maybe all of your social media, if you're on Facebook, Twitter, all that, go and add those as web applications, so that when you get on a computer you type in Facebook, Twitter, whatever, or any other web pages that you go to on a regular basis, just for quick and easy access. All right, let's talk a little bit about these extensions. GNOME's got a bunch of extensions that can be added to it, and let me pull up Firefox here, and we will go right to the extensions homepage. So the first time you go here, you want to click this, allow extensions to run GNOME shell integration. You want to allow that, and I always click allow and remember, and then reload that. So let me move this over here so we can look at these side by side. So what on the website, it will show you, if you look right here, it says current version, and it'll show you all of the extensions that are available for your current version of GNOME. And I will tell you that right now, since I'm running GNOME 3.14, and 3.14's only been out about a month or so, a lot of the extensions are not available yet, but there's quite a bit that are. So anyway, you can, from the tweak tool, you can go and turn on and off the extensions that you already have. And actually down at the bottom, see where it says get more extensions, you click that and it'll take you to this website right here. From the website itself, you can go and add more extensions, ones that you don't already have. And then you can also see the extensions that you do have installed, and you can turn them on and off from here as well. Either way, it'll get you the same place as far as turning them on and off. But there's all kinds of stuff that you can add here to add more. I don't know if I want to say applications, but more functionality to your desktop. And right now I'm not going to go through what I add and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to do a follow-up video that will be, how I set up my desktop for and what I like to do and all that kind of stuff. So we'll we'll revisit that in the next video, and I'll throw links up up at the end of this video so you can see that. So what other stuff we got here? Let me close these guys up here. We've the kernel has been updated to 3.16, which I think the latest kernel out is 17. So it's pretty new, not the newest, but it is updated. So that's a plus there. The one thing I wish that you could get on the Ubuntu distributions is an easy way to upgrade the kernel. Now, for a lot of people, having the newest kernel isn't that big of a deal. Others of us like to get that newest kernel just so that you can play around, see what's been upgraded and all that kind of stuff. And and that it becomes more of an issue with people that have the newest computers, just because an older kernel, it's not going to have the specific drivers and whatnot that are needed for the newest, not necessarily the newest computer, but maybe like the latest Intel chip that's come out, that sort of thing. So I wish there was an easy way to do it. For those of you that have played around with the Manjaro distributions, they got right in their system settings. There's a setting you can click, and it'll show you what kernel you have installed, all the available kernels. So I mean, that is pretty cool there. I wish they could do something like that. Not to say that you can't install it on Ubuntu based distributions. I've done it. You need to work in the terminal to do the installation, but if you don't know what you're doing, it's easy to screw up your system. So let's see. Go back to the system settings just so that make sure there's nothing that I missed here. The display manager, very nice. It shows you the your various monitors. If you got multiple monitors, you can go and arrange how you want those displayed, that sort of thing. So very nice on that. Make tweaks to your mouse and touchpad, your network. We already talked about printers. If you got a tablet attached, all that kind of stuff. You can add more user accounts, or tweak the various ones here. So like if you want to go and add a picture of yourself, put it in right in there, or go and pick one of these guys, maybe the penguin. But also you can also go and add other users from there. And I think that about finishes things up for this review here. There hasn't been a whole lot of changes from the last release, but typically, the Ubuntu-based distributions, they come out twice a year. You got the 04 release in April, and then you've got the 10 release in October. Usually, the 10 release isn't as big of a deal as the 04 release, and it's kind of the same thing here. Not a huge number of changes, just kind of updates, bug fixes, a few new features. Not a whole lot though. But that being said, I really like the distribution. I went to the regular Ubuntu distribution, the 14.04 release, and I did that for about 3 months or so. And I've got to say, I like the GNOME interface better. Other people may like the other, the regular Ubuntu better. I like the GNOME interface best. I'm a keyboard driven guy, so I like the fact that I can sit here, I can hit the Windows key, I can start typing in what I'm looking for, and it'll pull it up. I can select, and boom, we're done. Uh, if you're looking for a more traditional desktop, you're not going to find it here. Well, I'm not going to say that. If you're looking for a more traditional desktop, you can get that with extensions. But by default, this is more of a keyboard driven or point and click type deal, because you can come up here and click activities, pull up the applications that way. Myself, I am a hit the Windows key and start typing in what I want to find. But everybody's got a different interface that works best for them. A lot of people still like that same kind of interface that we got back in Windows 95 and Windows 98, and they're not about to change, or they're stuck with the old GNOME 2 layout, display, way of working, however you want to say it. And that's fine. Then probably this distribution isn't for you. Personally, like I said, the current GNOME desktop environment is what I like to work in. To me, I can work most efficiently here, so that's where I'm staying for a while. Well, that finishes things up for this video. As I said earlier, I'm going to have a follow-up video that will show you how I set up my desktop, the extensions I like to use, programs I like to add, all that kind of stuff. So I'll throw a link up that'll lead you to that video. As always, if you enjoyed the video, give us a big old thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe if you want to keep seeing my videos. And a big thank you to all of my recent subscribers, well, and to the subscribers from way back when I first started this YouTube channel. But I picked up a bunch of new subscribers recently. Thank you for that, because the more people that view these videos, the better. It's no secret that I get a little bit of ad revenue for those ads that pop up on the bottom of the display, and to be blunt, that helps pay the bills. and every little bit helps. So thanks a lot for that. Well, I guess that's it. Yeah, that is it. Okay, we'll see you on the next video, and see you then.